Now, do not get me wrong. In my ideal world, I don't know, who's massive? I mean, somebody absolutely jacked and absolutely huge would play Batman because it would just make me laugh and it would make me think that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. So, Bald A-hole here, and if you have been a long time watcher of this channel, thank you very much, I appreciate you. But way back when the world was very strange and we weren't allowed to go outside of our houses, a big news story that broke is Robert Pattinson did an interview talking about the Batman movie, which is coming out in around about 6 weeks, and said that he wasn't going to work out for the role. Now, at the time we did a video about it, and we kind of had some fun with it, and yes, there were a few people in the comments going, he's only trolling and mucking around, to which we responded, yeah, he probably is, but it's YouTube, we have to make daily content, I like Batman, I like working out, so these tick all of my boxes. Anyway, now that Robert Pattinson is doing his big press tour to say, hey, my movie is coming out, please go and watch it. Also, apparently 3 hours long and really dark, so that gets a couple of thumbs up. He has said, of course I worked out. I probably shouldn't have said that, and it came back to haunt me. So I have the exact quote right here that he said in 2020. He said, I think if you're working out all the time, you're part of the problem. He was talking to GQ. You set a precedent. No one was doing this in the 70s. Even James Dean, he wasn't exactly ripped. And I'd still take umbrage with that comment because James Dean wasn't playing Batman. However, now he has talked to Movie Maker again, and he has said, that really came back to haunt me. I just always think it's really embarrassing to talk about how you're working out. He's not wrong there. He's 100% correct. It is weird. I think it's like an English thing, unless you are in the most unbelievable shape where people are just genuinely curious going, how have you achieved like physical perfection or whatever? You're playing Batman, Pattinson said. You have to work out. I think I was doing the interview when I was in lockdown as well in England. I was in a lower gear of working out. Also says that he's been doing a bunch of martial arts, including jiu-jitsu, which makes sense because you've got to have those fight scenes and you've got to make them look good. And the only real picture that we have seen of Robert Pattinson with his top off, which is a strange thing to say, but it's true, is right there. Boom, it appears on the screen and you can tell that he's been doing something. Now, I do have to admit, I'm not overly familiar with Robert Pattinson in other movies, but I know in Twilight, they just love whipping their tops off. It was their favorite thing to do. And he is a lot bulkier now than he was back then. Now, the other issue we have is that straight away people said, well, he doesn't look that big. He doesn't look that ripped, especially I suppose compared to Christian Bale. He had a more fuller physique, but you can only go so far. And actually, if we compare all the Batmans, I'm sure Michael Keaton worked out, but he wasn't exactly like a super jack guy. Ben Affleck was called Fat Batman or whatever, Fat Man or something, because everyone thought he was overweight, which was most unfair. And Adam West never did anything, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some other Batmans. But the point is this, if he's playing a younger version of Bruce Wayne, as long as he looks like he could kind of kick your ass, which I suppose he does there, I don't have a problem with it. Now, do not get me wrong. In my ideal world, I don't know, who's massive? I mean, somebody absolutely jacked and absolutely huge would play Batman because it would just make me laugh and it would make me think that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's absolutely ridiculous that we go from one extreme to the next. Like, oh, I can't believe he's not working out, you know, throw the pitchforks. Now he admits he has working out. Well, I don't appreciate that physique. Like, you've got to draw a line. There's more to this as well, because straight away you do Batman, people are going to ask you about your physique. And when Pattinson was talking for Healthy for Men, which I've never heard of, he got into his food prep and he got into his Batman prep. And the things he has been doing, according to him, is he cut down on his alcohol and has stripped back on processed meat and fried food as a ways of accelerating his physical transformation. We talked about this before. I don't want to get into it too deep, but if you are somehow watching this video right now and you've never done any kind of exercise and you're terrified of it, which I completely understand, just stop drinking alcohol for a while and switch to diet drinks. I'm not going to get into whether you like diet drinks or not. That's perfectly up to you. But the amount of calories you save from liquid is quite frankly ridiculous. And also, if you then bring in water, I mean, water is so good for you, especially when it comes to muscles. Your muscles are essentially 75% water. So why the hell would you ever allow yourself to get dehydrated? In the same interview, Pattinson also shared the details of his training program, which he says places a focus on short, sharp, functional moves, including military-style sandbag routines on the beach, running 5 to 10K 3 times a week, and combat sport. What I really like, though, is the quote that he dropped when he said, in every project I've ever taken on, I've come in wanting to learn and to achieve new things. That's usually in the embodiment of the character and someone who has a different personality to me, but taking on full physical transformation as well feels even more exciting. So that sounds absolutely fine to me. Okay, so he said a stupid thing back then. We all get mad because we're crazy, crazy people. But, you know, again, I'm not massively familiar with Robert Pattinson, but it certainly sounds like he's one of these actors. You give him a script and he basically like envelops himself into it and he becomes all of that stuff, which is why most of his performances are very well reviewed. They also kind of broke down some of the things he is doing. Maybe you want to give it a go. Maybe we should give it a go. I don't know. But one, circuit training, which is 5-minute cardio effort, bicycle crunches, dumbbell side bends, double crunches, and Superman holds. And then we talked about the running. He'll go for 5 to 10 kilometers, run 3 or 4 times a week. Outdoor fitness, and the quote is weird. Pattinson has been doing military-style sandbag routines on the beach, and has always been an advocate of long walks as a way of loosening up and freeing the mind. Now, that sounds like something from a dating ad, but we have talked about how important going for a walk is on the channel many a time, because it's right there. It's where my door is. You can just go outside and go for a walk, and you will be burning calories. Like, it is really difficult to get 10,000 steps in a day because it's quite the distance to go, but start with 2,000, then do 4,000, 6,000, work up to it. It's far simpler because you're not just throwing this massive number at your brain straight away. And he's also been boxing. That's the other thing he's been doing. He's been boxing, burning around 800 calories in an hour. I'm not sure how they're measuring that. I mean, that's just a completely made up stat. There's no one stood there going calorie. I'm sure boxing does burn a lot of calories. Whether it's 800, I wouldn't want to comment on, although it is crazy hard. Boxing is one of the best workouts to build fitness, speed, and strength. Remind you of any particular cape superhero. You did not need that last bit. What I do like is that he talked about the fact that in his younger days, he barely worked out at all. The physical side of things wasn't really something he was into, which is perfectly fine. Remember, the gym does not define you. So now that he has thrown himself into it, he's finding it interesting, he's finding it exciting, and he wants to see this physical transformation. So again, going back to that picture, even though that's all we've seen at the moment, it's not the particularly, most flattering angle, and I'm pretty sure they would have had a peak day. If you don't know what a peak day is in a movie, think when Captain America first comes out as Captain America, right? Chris Evans, if you actually look through the whole movie, does not look like that the whole time, but peak days, when they make sure he looks as his most pumped, his biggest, when he does walk out of that chamber after the super serum, you're like, oh my gosh, he's absolutely massive, and then you kind of forget about it for the rest of the flick. So yes, everybody can calm down now. If you want to do the whole, I told you he was joking around, good for you. Make sure you give yourself a cookie, but make sure that you then balance out the calories for the rest of the day. And I don't care. I mean, if he had come in looking like a skinny rake, this movie would have sold me anyway. Like, I'm trying to stay away from all spoilers now, but I have read sort of the preview stuff, and it sounds like the kind of Batman movie I've been wanting for ages. Because the coolest thing about Bruce Wayne is, yes, he's the Cape Crusader, he's the Dark Knight, but he's also the world's best detective. And some of the other movies have basically been, how's he a good detective? Well, he's this Bat computer, watch this, blah, 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 and it just figures it out for him. Whereas I think this is going to be like a psychological drama or a psychological thriller, because the Riddler is all kind of screwed up, and then you're going to have this side mission with the Penguin. And then, yes, I think Batman / Bruce Wayne will be balanced, maybe a little bit better. So I'm very, very excited about it. I will absolutely see it around about 10 times in the first week. And if you haven't heard my Batman Begins story before, I'll tell you it now. I went to the cinema. I was wearing a lot of Batman garb because I'm just kind of the day. And the woman behind the desk who was trying to sell me a ticket said, "Did Batman throw up on you?" And it was not said in a funny way. In fact, it was said quite meanly. And given Batman Begins came out, 17 years ago or something like that? Clearly, I still ain't over it. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the bell ding ding. So you know other videos are going live. There is another video on the screen. Please do give it a click and leave a comment below. They are the 3 best things you can do on YouTube to support any kind of channel. Subscribe, subscribe, comment, and click the video. That's the best one. If you keep watching all the videos, YouTube, it will spam the hell out of you afterwards, but that works for me. Also, grillermind.com/Simon if you want to get fitness supplements that I am behind. Obviously, that's more plates, more dates, Derek's company. And if you use the code Simon to get 10% off everything on the site, and there's sales all the time, so keep an eye on my Instagram at Simon316. That's usually where I talk about them. Also on Twitter at Simon316. Greg Doucette's Power 13 cookbook. If you're looking for a diet that's healthy but also nice, links in the description below. Also on Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316, Simon@thebigcartel.com for merch. I'm on Cameo if you want a shout out. And I think that's pretty much everything. Make sure that you train if you ever play Batman. And if you do, please get in touch because I want to have a conversation with you. See you soon.